What is up, crypto connoisseurs and stock strategists? I'm back at you with a bunch of notes for the ARK Invest Cathy Wood video that she just uploaded very recently, and I'm just going to go into the main points. This is just going to kind of be a brief summary. If you're not, if you don't have the time to watch her whole video, is about a half an hour long. I watched through it twice just to get every little bit of info that I could. So I'm just going to condense it down for you guys, hopefully in about a 10-minute video or so. And I'm just going to get into this real quick about a couple of points that she brings up regarding the economy. So first we're looking at monetary policy, and the Fed is looking to taper still, of course. Our retail sales were disappointing. We've got the infrastructure bill coming. We have the West Virginia senator, I believe she said his name was Senator Manchin, I think. He doesn't like the bill, the infrastructure bill. He thinks it's just ridiculous. He's more into the like the 500 to $1 trillion bill. So she went over the government debt to GDP ratio. We're at 100%. Before the virus, we were at about 75%, so that's not really good. That's definitely not a good thing, and that's partly why the Virginia senator is just really not into this bill, and just the potential inflation that it could cause, and that's mainly like his worry. Okay, and then here we go. The next thing I believe that she was talking about was that carbon tax will be a possibility. So that's, I don't like the sound of that, in my opinion. She says for that to happen, that also there will be like credits in place or subsidies for lower income people. That's all she kind of went with the carbon tax. That's kind of all she gave about that. So as for the economy and unemployment, we have a weak unemployment report. As I'm sure some of you guys have heard, we were expecting 733,000. We ended up with 235,000 increase, which is like, not even half. So that is pretty weak. Leisure and hospitality were flat. They were up until this month, and it was slowly rising up to this month. So it kind of shows that we were coming back up. Now we're kind of regressing again. So as for manufacturing hours worked, they were down, and it's a big drop, and she thinks it's a real indicator. So that's kind of a bad sign she gave us. So there are 10 million unfilled U.S. jobs, and her reasoning for this is that they don't pay enough wages. She did mention that Walmart increased its wages about $1 across the board. She said that. I'm not sure how true that is, but just going with what she said. She's saying that there's a skill set mismatch, and unemployment claims are lowering. So we're starting to see unemployment claims lowering. So we're going kind of in the right direction there. But yeah, so unemployment claims are lowering, whereas the unemployment report or employment report is a very small increase, okay? That we're sort of starting to get back to normal. She's seeing that the housing sector, the supply is creeping up, which should help our pricing in the housing sector in terms of pricing for homes being sold. And we've got business catching up with demand, according to her. Retail sales have dropped 1%, which is actually a huge drop in a 1-month time period, she says. Now, as for consumer inflation expectation, it's going up. So she says that consumers aren't spending as much, and they think that the dollar has less buying power, which I've definitely seen that in personal experience. Gas prices, just prices of goods in general, foods, just any kind of retail stuff. I've noticed like increases there. The auto sales, they peaked in February, 30% decline since. But there's also a lot of used car. It's a lot of used car sales, causing with the chip shortage and everything with new autos. So she's actually saying that the chip shortages are real. Like, the inventory is going away from the auto dealership lots, and they're moving to consumer. So we're just kind of like with the Clorox thing, people bulking up on Clorox, hand sanitizers, that kind of deal. So we have kind of the same thing with autos. Whereas it seems that the inventory is approaching, the consumer has the inventory now, so she thinks there will probably be a decrease in demand for used autos. New autos, probably not so much. She thinks actually there's going to be a huge shift into EVs as prices become more reasonable. And I'm going to get into that note here. But before I get to that, I actually wanted to tell you a couple more points that she brought up. She brought up that pent-up demand for services is rising. There's a lot of demand for people's services, and as we kind of ramp up more normalization, people will be more willing to let people into their houses, and they will be ready to pay for services. She also mentioned that people's savings accounts have been increasing since the Rona. And here's another thing. Frank Downing, one of her analysts, so he kept really close eye on prices for the 3070, which is a GPU graphics card, and that actually has a lot to do with kind of supply and demand, and definitely also has to do with Bitcoin prices. And so she mentioned that it peaked at 1,421 in May, which is just crazy because the MSRP for one of those is about $500. And me myself, I actually paid about $700 for the 3060. So the 3060 is normally about a $450 graphics card, and I paid about $700. I was very desperate, and I didn't want to wait, but that was kind of my decision. Could have paid a lot more. I saw a lot of higher prices, and I figured now would be a good time to buy. They are still kind of up there in price, obviously, and you can't find one for MSRP. If you're gonna get one, you're gonna get one off of eBay, Amazon, or something for an overpriced amount. It is kind of crazy, but it is what it is. I actually remember just buying my couple years back now, buying my 5500 XT, I believe it was, and it's a $200 chip, but now that chip, or that graphics card, excuse me, is going for about $500 or so. So it's really crazy in my opinion, and it just has to do with the demand with Bitcoin. It kind of fluctuates with Bitcoin. When you see Bitcoin rise, usually the demand for these graphics cards rises, which in turn raises the prices and decreases the supply. And let's get actually back to auto sales. She thinks that there could be a pause in auto sales because of the shift to EV. There is an inventory buildup in gas-powered vehicles, she believes, and that there will be. She says that reassessment on behalf of consumers, there's a reassessment going on where consumers are seeing that it's just a better price. Now, this reassessment on behalf of consumers, they're seeing EV prices lower, and also the EV credits by the government and all that kind of stuff, the incentives to buy, they're definitely helping the shift to EV. And electric vehicle auto sales are in fact up 50%. So that's definitely a big increase, and in time she believes that will just completely continue to increase, and I'm kind of on her side with that as well. And at the end of this video, actually, I'm going to show just like the last minute of that 30-minute video that she posted, and just a couple interesting things. Inventory numbers seem to be catching up. She says there's a lot of inventory in homes, like I was saying. The inventory is going from dealer lots, moving to homes. Everyone that wanted a car mostly has one now. Confirmation of this is coming in the Mannheim Used Car Index, she says. Okay, here I've got a couple more notes for you. That was like the auto part. That was, we got into auto, we got into homes real quick, the housing market. Now we're going to get into like financial and DeFi. So she says the DeFi space is providing good yields. Bonds aren't attractive to people. I totally agree with this. Why would you want to buy bonds when you can just, put your money into like a BlockFi account and make 4 or 5%, 8% on your cash? I've got a link below for BlockFi. But regardless, I definitely am a big fan of that. Maybe if I was 20, 30 years older or something, I would definitely be, wanting to be less risk heavy, but I'm more of a risk taker. In 3 to 5 years, healthcare wise, she sees like a lot of growth and innovation coming. And she also says, William Sutherland says that the price of AI dropping is about 68% a year, and the world will change that much more quickly, as we get more innovation, and she said earlier that the virus actually started kind of ramping this up in terms of, like Zoom and all that kind of stuff, innovating there. And then the genomic space, there's definitely innovation going on. The costs of these genomic machines are getting cheaper. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is all I really got out of the genomics part. She kind of just glossed over it very quickly. So we're going to be able in time to find a needle in a haystack in terms of genomics, finding out which gene is faulty or causing the problem or causing the disease, what have you. She thinks that through gene sequencing and diagnosis, we will definitely move in that direction, and as things get more affordable, there will be huge changes and huge innovation in the healthcare sector in terms of like diabetes, helping cure that or helping at least mitigate problems there. And but yeah, it's a very interesting thing. I'm a big fan of bio-nanogenomic stock. I know there's a lot of other stocks out there like CRISPR, other things like that, but that is the only genomic stock I have, and I actually got into that in like the $2 range, and I've been holding it since. So she believes growth and particularly innovation. We're moving into a much more digital world. Innovation solves problems, and she's very big on EVs, as we all know. And EVs will help the auto pricing problems that we're currently experiencing, and kind of forcing auto prices to go a little more to the downside. Now, one more thing is she was talking about Bitcoin briefly, and she's saying, kind of like along with the DeFi space and there is more risk, of course, there with DeFi and like crypto and staking your crypto and getting an APY and all that kind of stuff. But she did say that Bitcoin, people see it as a better hedge against gold, whereas gold supply will increase. Bitcoin supply, the increase of Bitcoin supply will diminish. So Bitcoin, yes, the supply will increase, but that amount over time will slowly diminish by the amount that it increases. So it will increase, but it will increase slower over time. And this is basically all I got out of this for you. That was like the main points. I try to take as many notes as possible and like as much important kind of little tidbits of info that she had, but that's about all I got out of her 30-minute video. And I'm actually going to roll another quick clip for you in the end. But thanks again, guys. I hope you enjoy, and stay tuned here. I'm just going to play her clip really quick.
And I'll go back one more time to electric vehicles and all the work that Sam and Tasha have done on them. What is one of the most visible price increases we're seeing right now? It's not just used car prices. Those are up 60%. It's oil prices. What better solution than an electric vehicle? I haven't had to go to the gas station since September of 2018, since I got my Model 3, and I don't miss it at all. So anyway, looking forward to your comments and suggestions, and looking forward to another month rich with data, and another month full of research around innovation by ARK, and we give it all away. So stay tuned, arkinvest.com. Thanks so much.
And there you have it, guys. That was just a quick, brief little rundown. I'll put the link to her website below, or I'll put a link to at least the YouTube video below. And guys, what do you think about this? What do you think about the innovation coming? And what she said, I'm very excited to see new data. I'm hoping things go in a good direction, but we'll see in time. But thanks again, guys, for checking me out. I'll see you next time.